Today is Wednesday, July 13th. We're talking about what lawmakers are calling the craziest meeting of the Trump presidency and the part of President Biden's Middle East trip that's getting some pushback. Also, what to know about an ISIS leader dead and a deal with Mexico. Plus, which busy airport is making it harder to find flights this summer and why. Which TV shows scored the most Emmy nominations. And what scientists are saying now about the newest images from the distant universe. Those stories and much more next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. This week, the January 6th committee held its 7th hearing, this time trying to show that former President Trump encouraged far-right extremists to violence so he could hold on to power. One focus was what witnesses described as a heated, screaming argument that happened back in December. Some people who were at the meeting say Trump's White House lawyers rejected the idea there was any widespread voter fraud, despite what Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was saying. And they say people on both sides were going after each other with some personal, sometimes profane, verbal attacks, along with challenges to physically fight. Then hours after that meeting, Trump tweeted, quote, "Big protest in D.C. on January 6th. Be there, will be wild." Committee members say that tweet sparked far-right groups to start planning for an attack. And witnesses backed that up, like a former spokesperson for the Oath Keepers said the group's leader took Trump's tweets and comments as a signal. He now calls the Oath Keepers a dangerous militia. Americans also heard live testimony from a man who pleaded guilty to storming the Capitol. He told the committee, quote, "We were just following what the president said." Lawmakers also showed text messages Trump's former campaign manager sent to other staff on the evening of January 6th. The messages said things like, "I feel guilty for helping him win," and, quote, "A sitting president is asking for a civil war." Trump has said many times he did nothing wrong and has called the committee's investigation a partisan witch hunt. The committee says its next hearing will focus more on former President Trump's actions the day of the riot. That hearing is expected to happen next week. In Uvalde, Texas, there are new intense calls for explanation and accountability. Since this week, video footage was released showing one of the deadliest school shootings in American history. It backed up what reports have already said, that heavily armed police officers waited more than an hour in a hallway before stopping the shooter. The video shows them huddled around each other. At one point, an officer stops to put on hand sanitizer. 2 others fist bump one another, and others look at their phones. 19 children and 2 teachers were killed that day. At a Uvalde City Council meeting last night, several people asked for answers, pointing out that the whole investigation has been confusing from the start. In the last 7 weeks, authorities have been giving different stories of what happened, and many statements have been retracted. Uvalde's mayor told the AP, quote, "This is the most unprofessional investigation or handling of it that I've seen in my life." There's also debate about whether this video should have been released at all. It leaked to the Austin American-Statesman, which published it yesterday. Some officials say the victims' families should not be re-traumatized by that video. But others say they want even more video released, like police body camera footage, for more clarity. This weekend, the Texas state lawmakers who have been investigating the shooting will release a preliminary report of their findings. The U.S. military says it has taken down a powerful ISIS leader. He was considered to be one of the top 5 Islamic State leaders in Iraq and Syria. And this week, he was killed in a drone strike. Now, operation officials say his death will make it harder for the terror group to plan and carry out attacks throughout the world. President Biden released a statement, too, saying this strike shows the U.S. does not need to send thousands of troops to war to remove threats. American officials say no civilians were hurt in the attack. Today marked the start of President Biden's first trip to the Middle East since he took office. He's starting off in Israel, where it might be tough to make many deals since Israel has a temporary government right now. That's ahead of another round of elections later this year. Still, Biden will push for more security partnerships between Israel and Arab countries, in part so they can stand up to Iran. And that's important, since Iran is said to be closer than ever to having the ability to build a nuclear weapon, and negotiations over a new nuclear deal have stalled. Next, the president is going to the West Bank to visit Palestinian leaders, and finally, the president will go to Saudi Arabia. He's faced a lot of scrutiny over that part of the trip, since the Saudi leadership has been accused of a lot of human rights abuses. But the country also has vast reserves of oil. And Biden wants Saudi Arabia to pump more of it to help alleviate high gas prices. So stay tuned. Closer to home, the Biden administration has been trying to shore up a working relationship between the U.S. and our closest neighbor to the south. The White House hosted a meeting between President Biden and Mexico's President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador yesterday. Items on the agenda included slowing the influx of migrants, inflation, and the dangerous opioid fentanyl making its way from Mexico to the U.S. illegally. And there was at least one big announcement to come out of the meeting. The White House said Mexico is going to invest $1.5 billion to border infrastructure. Reports say that money will improve processing and security along the border, including technology that can detect contraband. Also during that meeting, President Biden highlighted commitments the U.S. has already made, like making more work visas available and expanding refugee resettlement programs. Still, Biden said, quote, "This is just a start." All right, we have more news still ahead, like which busy airport is telling airlines to stop selling summer tickets, and which company just bought the music version of Wordle. But first, let's take a quick break for our sponsor. I'm excited to tell you about Thrive Cosmetics, where you can get great beauty and skincare products made with clean ingredients. I really appreciate knowing that their products never have parabens, sulfates, or phthalates. They're certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free. And I love their products. Specifically, I use the Liquid Balm Lip Treatment all the time. It feels really nice on, it looks great as a shiny, clear gloss, and it keeps my lips nice and moisturized. I just keep it in my purse all the time now, and I'm planning to get their exfoliating lip scrub next. I also like the Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. It's a bestseller, and it has 20,000 5-star reviews for a reason. And no matter what products you buy from Thrive Cosmetics, here's an added bonus. Cause is in their name on purpose. Every purchase supports organizations that help communities thrive. Their mission is called Bigger Than Beauty, and it supports a variety of causes. Now is a great time to try Thrive Cosmetics for yourself. Right now, you can get 15% off your first order when you visit thrivecosmetics.com/newsworthy. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/newsworthy for 15% off your first order. One of Europe's biggest international airports has asked airlines to stop selling tickets for summer departures. London's Heathrow Airport is now capping the number of passengers flying from the hub to 100,000 a day. The reason for this? Surging travel demand coupled with staffing shortages stemming from the pandemic. Heathrow's CEO says the combo has led to unacceptable service like long lines, late bags, and last-minute cancellations. So the goal with the capacity cap is to limit those problems and make sure passengers who are allowed through have a smoother experience. This could impact Americans taking trips to Europe. Heathrow, along with London Gatwick and Amsterdam Schiphol, that have also limited passengers, are all airports that Americans tend to use as gateways to Europe and beyond. Heathrow's passenger cap is scheduled to last through mid-September. It's a game like Wordle, but instead of words, it's all about music. It's called Hurdle, and now it's part of Spotify, which just acquired it. So here's how Hurdle works. Once a day, users can guess a song based on just the opening notes. Players get 6 chances to figure out the song, getting a few extra seconds of the song with each incorrect guess. Spotify says millions of people already play Hurdle, and it'll mostly stay the same. It'll still be free and have a similar look and feel. But now players can listen to the full song on Spotify right after the game ends. And Spotify says it'll integrate the game into Spotify more in the future. Once again, streaming services dominated nominations for the Emmy Awards. The HBO series Succession landed the most nominations of any show this year with 25. And its 14 acting nods broke a record for the most any series has gotten from any year. Succession's nominations helped HBO overall outpace Netflix. But Netflix's Squid Game still broke a record. With 14 nominations, Squid Game earned the most ever nods for a foreign language show. The Emmys are set for September 12th, live on NBC and Peacock. NASA unveiled more images from the powerful James Webb Space Telescope. And scientists say the images they're seeing are even more amazing than they imagined. The new pictures show interacting galaxies hundreds of millions of light years away from Earth, a stellar nursery where massive young suns are born, a giant planet's atmosphere, and more. All the pictures represented just 5 days of observation. So this has a lot of people excited for the future since it starts to show what the $10 billion telescope is actually capable of. As one program scientist put it, quote, "We're making discoveries and we haven't even started trying yet." If you want to see the pictures for yourself, we did post them on our Instagram page. Just look for us at NewsworthyPod. You may be able to see the biggest supermoon of the year this week. At the same time as this month's full moon, the moon will be at the closest point to Earth in its orbit for all of 2022. So that makes it a supermoon. NASA says supermoons usually appear 17% bigger and 30% brighter than when the moon is at its farthest point away from Earth. But depending on where you are and when you look, it may not appear that much different than a typical full moon. Still, experts say if you take a look tonight, the best time is moonrise and moonset, and it may look larger near the horizon. Of course, your view will also depend on the weather. Well, that's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, a quick message from our sponsor, ZocDoc. With ZocDoc, you can focus on the doctors who are in-network based on your insurance. So it puts you on the path to see the doctors who are right for you. And then you can also read up on local doctors thanks to verified patient reviews. So no more wasting time hunting down the cash-only chiropractor your friend recommended or calling the dentist your coworker suggested only to learn that she's out of network. ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. So whether you want to choose a time slot right then and there on ZocDoc, or you just want to peek through all of your options, ZocDoc helps make sure your search is faster and more efficient. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc, and I'm one of them whenever I need a new doctor. So go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc, ZocDoc.com/newsworthy, ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. States are getting creative to fill gaps in the labor market. One recent approach includes relying on teenagers more than before. New Jersey's governor signed a bill that lets 16 and 17-year-olds work up to 50 hours a week during the summer months. It also says 14 and 15-year-olds can work up to 40 hours a week. Over in Michigan, the governor signed a bill that lets 17-year-olds serve alcohol at bars and restaurants. Only one other state, Maine, already had that rule. All around the country, there are also businesses willing to pay teenagers more. Data from the payroll platform Gusto says this year, average hourly wages for teen workers has gone up nearly 4 times faster than the increase among all workers. The New York Post says camp counselors are making $18 an hour. Babysitters and wait staff are now making $25 an hour. And it seems a lot of teens are taking advantage of this. Statistics from the U.S. Labor Department show the unemployment rate for teenagers is at the lowest level in nearly 70 years. Bottom line, teens are in high demand. Well, thank you so much for joining us as part of your daily routine. Be sure to follow or subscribe to The Newsworthy in your favorite podcast app if you haven't already. It helps make sure you see when we release a new episode, and it helps us grow. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.